you are not consistently practicing how to become a great coach, you will always find yourself struggling to attract your ideal clients. Yes, I said it. Coach T said it. He said it. Coach, how can you possibly say that? Because you got to remember that coaching is a skill. You got to get good at the core skill. Even if you get good at everything else, even if you might have a good offer, you might know how to market, you might know how to advertise, you might know how to run ads, you might even know how to, post viral content. But if at the core of what you do is not you being great at coaching, eventually that's going to catch up to you, and you're going to always find it hard for you to get clients, because you got to think about it like this as coaches, right? Coaching is the highest form of transformation. Since we know coaching is the highest form, and what I mean by that is for somebody to get the best, the biggest, and the most sure way to get results is working with somebody through coaching, maybe one-on-one or small groups. That you're not going to get the same level of results through speaking. Meaning I'm in an audience of 1,000 people. There's no way that I'm going to get the same level of learning from you and progress being in a sea of 1,000 people disappearing versus me and you on a call one-on-one, or me and you on a call with a few people, and then you know who I am and you know my name and you can answer my question and you know my situation and you can learn more context about what I have going on. There's no comparison. So speaking is not going to do it. A book isn't going to do it, because you're going to read and you're going to have questions and you're not going to understand context because it's only about a certain amount of words. A coach, a online video is not really going to do it, because they might learn, you might get the visuals, but there's no engagement or interaction. I have a question about something you said. I don't understand something you said. I want a different example about something you said. So, it's not going to be that, right? So you got to realize, no audio. Coaching is the number one form of transformation. If you truly in this to change lives. So if you truly in this to change lives, you should probably acquire the skill that it's going to take. You feel what I'm saying? So that's really, really key. If you not being a great basketball player, there's no level of network. You could be great at networking. You could be great at finding scouts and talent agents, and you could be great at negotiating deals. But at the core of it, if you're not a great basketball player, you will not make it in the NBA. So it's the same thing in this space and what we do. So that's really what's prompting us to have this conversation today. And for me, like, where did my coaching journey start, and how did I kind of get into this, and what has allowed me to really be the, I can't say that I'm the greatest coach. I would love to be the greatest coach. I feel like I could connect with people, but I feel like, there's even a lot more for me to learn. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not at 7 figures yet at the time of this, right? I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm connected with more people, right? But we're learning and we're growing and we're taking things one step at a time. So, my journey essentially has been a kid from the hood, Bronx, New York, South Side, being a part of gangs, fights, shootouts. There's prostitution on my block, gambling, everything you could think of that no kid could possibly come out alive. And I say, God's honest truth, I should be dead or in jail. And I thank God that I'm not, and I made it out. I'm gonna go through a couple key things, and these things are really what's gonna help you take your business to the next level. So the first one is, I'm just gonna give you some examples, some best practices, and then I'll write down a couple of tips for you. All right. So what are some of the best practices of coaches, right? Of some of the top coaches. I'm gonna give you a few different examples so you can get a wide range. So most people, if you're in our space, coaching, speaking, training, you have some type of skill or expertise and you want to train and help people on it. Many people know who Tony Robbins is, right? Tony Robbins is the world's, considered one of the world's top life coaches, right? And I mean, he's killing the game. I mean, I think he's probably at like 500 million annual, like his revenue, his net worth is something crazy, right? And he's a life coach, right? He does other things, but he's a life coach mainly. Now, Tony Robbins, I don't know how many years he's been in the game, but I would say minimum, he's probably at least been in the game minimum 40 years. And I feel like it's more than that. 40, maybe 40, between 40 to 50 years. He's been coaching. One of the things I can tell you is why he's so great at what he does and what makes him a great coach is he focuses not just on what people need to learn in terms of strategy, but he focuses a lot on your being, who you need to become. If you follow Tony Robbins to any extent, you know, he talks a lot about what we call incantations, right? Changing your physical being. He talks a lot about you being able to changing the way you make decisions. He talks a lot about you becoming the person, because once you become the person that is essentially the best version of yourself, you'll actually do the strategies people are asking you to do. That doesn't mean you need to wait. What that means is that anytime you're coaching people, you need to not just focus on what they need to do, but who they need to become. Write that down. Write that down. Focus on not just what your clients need to do, which is what 99.999% of coaches focus on, which they need to know what to do, period. They need to have a proven strategy that works. However, on the other end, what makes me different is I don't just focus on what you need to do. I also weave in, like if you ever coach with me or if you're part of my culture program, you'll notice I also focus a lot on the type of person you need to become to be successful. Because the version that you are today is going to be a different version of you in the future. A year from now, 5, 10 years from now is going to be a different version. So if you want that to be a better version of you, if you want to be more successful, like let's say if your goal is to make 6 figures. Now, if you went, let's say you like, yo, I'm going hard this year, and you made 6 figures in the next 12 months, which is possible. People have done it. It's not impossible. You make 6 figures in 12 months. I guarantee you that you will be a different version of yourself a year from today than you are today. How do I know that? How you know that, coach? I know that because if you already was that person, you would already have the results. Put mind blown in the chat. Put mind blown. Like, this makes a big difference. You know what I mean? And I can tell you, being 8 years ahead of most of you in this game, in this space, right? I'm younger than you, probably a lot of people, you know, older than me who follow me, right, and follow my content. But I can tell you that who I am today is a different version than I was, you know, even 5 years ago when I really started taking it seriously, because it took me 2-3 years to really start taking it serious. So I can tell you I'm a different version than I was 5 years ago, 8 years ago. You know, I can tell you this, 8 years ago, I didn't even work on my business every day. Let's really talk. Let's really have a conversation about it. I didn't even work on my business every day. I had a conversation with a client recently, and he was like, yo, you work on your business every day? It almost blew his mind that I worked on a business every day. He's like, yo, every day? Right? So just sometimes when we just start, and it's just like a whole, like this mentality, just, oh, wow, I can make time every day to work on my business. Yes, if you want to be successful and you want to do this for full time, and you want to travel, provide for your family, leave a legacy, you want all of that good stuff, 6 figures, 7 figures, impact millions, whatever you want to do, you're going to have to work on it every day. So that was the first thing that I had to do, was just get consistent and work on the business every day. And so that was one thing. And then habits, right? Habits of, either making calls, or habits of putting out content every day, or habits of, just having the confidence to do it, having the clarity to do it. So I had to become a certain type of person. So that's why I teach that. And the world's best coaches know how to do that. I'm gonna tell you else, what makes Phil Jackson one of the most iconic coaches in NBA history? What was it? Well, one of the things that made him great is that he had a personal connection with every player. He knew how to specifically motivate every single player on his team. Think about that for a minute. He knew how to motivate people on the team. He know that some people can be motivated by, yo, like just getting them hyped and yelling at them, yo, what are you doing? Yo, get back down. And he would yell at some people and that would get him motivated. He know it was other people that would get him motivated, like, yo, like this is your legacy, you know, the kids are on, you know, the kids are watching. He know with some people that you can motivate that way. You know, with some people that motivate, they just needed to know technically what to do on the court and what the, so he knew how to motivate every player. He knew that some people you couldn't yell at directly because that would break them down, as opposed to somebody else you yell and curse at, that they need a nice cussing out the